on YouTube, so we're all good.
All right, I'll just pulled up over here.
Love it. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, and like I said, this is downloading now. We'll see how long it takes. If I can't have it by then, Johnny can trigger it for me.
All right, cool.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. Hi, chat
Thank you,
room.
Hal.
Yeah. Hi, chat. What's happening, people? Hello. Thank you for joining us. What's happening? Johnny Million's going to be in Chicago with us. I can hear him messing around in the background. All right. I heard that. He's in a singing mood. It's very 4th of July. Thank you guys for joining us on this 4th of July weekend. Here we are, rain or shine. Okay, gathering up the last couple of news stories. Morning. What's happening, Noctis? Hey, Edward. Brian, good to see you. Good morning, Hal Vickery. Tom, good to see you. I would be in
We're coming to you in 50, Hal.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Let's see. All right. Okay. Okay. Good to see you guys. Hey, hi, Michelle. Thank you for coming out last night. It was so nice to see you. That was a lovely surprise. Michelle SFL got to come to the show last night here in Jacksonville that both she and I didn't know I was having until last week. So thank you so much. Doing a little bit of setup right before it.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Live exclusively for WCPT in Chicago, standing up and speaking out, here's Hal Sparks.
Well, happy. Oh, I don't know why I'm getting an echo. It's fun. Let me see. I fixed on your side. Hold on. I'll fix this. Echo cancel 1 second. Maybe so. Is that a little better? Hey, can you guys hear me? And Chicago's okay? Say something, Johnny. Are you with us?
I was.
Oh, there you are. You're off mic, but you're there. I hear you. You're in
right
there.
on mic.
Oh, there you are.
There we are.
Yeah. I like it so much better that way. It's so much better. Yeah.
You should see his little sweaty face.
Yeah. No, it's all good.
All over the board right now. Save it.
It's really gross.
What is it? Yeah. No, we're all good. So happy 4th of July, Johnny. Happy 4th of July to everybody in the chat. And Julie, welcome back. So I'm sure you saw at least the clips of Trump's rainy day 4th of July.
Run for 2 hours, and I would have watched the whole thing.
Oh, it was. I have to say, there was a. Okay. So you and I lived through the whole Nazis marching on Skokie thing, and I'm not comparing the president's address to Nazis marching on Skokie. However, the response to it, if you'll recall, was not to stand out and protest, but to literally not show up, essentially to ignore it. And it was genius. It was a great way to handle it. And in the case of, whoops. There isn't. I try to fix the echo cancel because you're feeding back to me through the CPT feed for some reason, just so you know. I think we're okay. Anyways,
That more sweat from Devin.
that's okay. It's just going back my direction. I fixed it on my end, but I think we're okay. I'm just trying to make it sound better for the chat and all those folks. But here's the thing, I kind of approach a lot of these things that way. I think there are things you absolutely get in the street for and march against. I'm glad to see that people are starting to form marches and taking groups down to deal with the horrible situation at the border. You're going to start seeing, I think, over the next month and a half, big marches to deal with this. and to confront it head on. I think that's a great approach. But in some ways, when people are clearly weaponizing your attention, which I think the president does all the time. I mean,
daily.
that is essentially what his Twitter feed is for. Understand, everybody within the sound of my voice, the purpose of Donald Trump's Twitter feed is to weaponize your attention span for his benefit. And I play into it occasionally. In the beginning, it was just it was like a cornucopia. It was just the jokes just tumbled out. But after a while, I recognized that giving it too much attention and too much play kind of watered down the impact and the seriousness of what he's actually doing. And in some cases, you got to kind of save it up for the good jokes that are coming. You know what I mean? You can't. A lot of what he says is so friggin' ridiculous that you can jump right on it. Like I said, the jokes write themselves. But after a while, you go, I'm a pro. I got to be a little more selective about this. I can't just take the same bait everybody does. And when you step back and you start recognizing that there is something to watching it from a slight distance and going, all right, I'm not taking the bait on this one. I'm not taking the bait on this one. And then you recognize after a while that that's the whole goal of everything, that is getting you to take the bait on a bunch of these things. And I'm not going to go so far as to say that Kofifi was on purpose and he's Machiavellian. I think most of this stuff falls into the idiot savant world as far as he's concerned. It's a habit he's developed. It's not a strategy. And in the case of his, now that he's got a staff and they know the power of it, I think they also do that for him. So when it comes to creating this ridiculous militaristic wannabe Kim Jong-un missiles in the streets parade idea that he got turned on to when he saw the Bastille Day parade, and then he definitely he wanted to turn into this the American version of it to show off. Which, here's the thing, our military is 6 times all the top 6 militaries under us combined. It's enormous. I have a hard time grasping just the volume of tanks and planes and boats and missiles and depleted uranium bullets we have stacked everywhere. The volume of military hardware and technology and flat out just guns we have compared to everybody else is enormous. So showing it off, one of the reasons why America didn't do it was we take pride in civilian leadership and civilian oversight of the military. So a lot of times it's been countries where a militaristic coup has usurped a crown, usually within their own system, that has basically the military within those countries kind of shows off their muscle every couple of years to remind would-be dictators who might want to politically weasel their way to the top that they're next on the guillotine if that happens. That's essentially the message put forth by those giant militaristic kind of things. The military has taken over the government, and it's going to stay that way. Damn it! And if you don't even try, and especially on a big day like this, which is everybody's attention is pointed towards the politics of the nation, this would be a perfect time for somebody to jump up. I am the new king of France, and then all the guns turn on them and it's game over. So that's essentially the premise of a lot of these kind of hyper militaristic ones. The other ones are small dictatorships who are warning the world all the time because that's all they have to give. That's right. That is look, we don't make your life better, but we will make it worse if you try to mess with us. That's 100%. We're not going to make the next radio or the next iteration of iPod or create a great car or reinvent the make a perfect mousetrap or reinvent the wheel. That's never going to happen because we're too busy starving our own people and being crazy. So So, but what we can do is make a bunch of hollow missiles and parade them down the street. And by the way, there's 2 reasons. That's the other thing. There's 2 reasons why those missiles that that Kim Jong-un parades down the middle of the street are fake. Which has often been a sign of mockery. The Soviet Union used to do this as well. There's a practical reason why that's true. So no one can sabotage one and blow it up and kill the entire
Sure.
central government while they're on a bandstand with the Moab floating by on a small truck barge, right? So, I mean, that's so these are the reasons why the militaristic parades happen in the world. And Trump has obviously this, he's envious of that. So he decides he's going to put on this thing. And then he recognizes the mechanics of doing it are absurd. And effectively, they just ended up, it was like a car show. They just brought out 8 or 10 tanks and parked them around. And, you could kind of walk around and look at them like they do at most military bases. Like if you go down there, they always have the old ordnance kind of parked in a cool.
Just roll down Pennsylvania Avenue?
No, I mean, there were some trucks and stuff, I guess, involved in the parade, but it wasn't, because those things are huge. They're meant to destroy whatever they roll over. So why would you want them rolling over your roads? You ever been driving across a bridge and the bridge says no trucks? That's just.
Now, Hal, you're talking to John, and we get it. Who told him this? Because he wanted them to go down the roads, right?
Oh boy. Well, what they told him and what he ultimately said during his little speech, I'm sure some of you have heard it. I don't know if you've heard his excuse for why he said it. Let's take a break. When we come back, yes, when we come back, I'm going to play that piece for you. But I'm also going to play his I don't know what you would even call it. Like he makes an excuse for what happened, but it's not even an excuse. You guys can help me figure it out. 773-763-9278 is our number. Infotainmentwars.com is the website that will take you directly to the YouTube page. We'll be back right after this with 100% more Johnny Million. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide. So I think I'm going to check the feed coming back.
You still getting an echo?
I put on the echo cancel on here. Let me see if I do that. I'm going to put it on mono. Check the mic for me. Say something. Hello.
We can hear you still.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm not getting a bounce back right now. That's perfect.
Okay.
Whatever happened.
We'll find out if it stays that way, because if not, there's one more thing I'm going to try, but that's my last resort option here.
Can Johnny say something in his mic just to check it? Is his mic up and heading my way?
Johnny, give us a little hello or something.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Yeah, sounds good. So there's technically no reason why it would bounce. So we're great. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, perfect.
Love it. This is just gotta love a mix minus. It's a 100%. Rainier erupting. Man, will that ever be a catastrophe? Yes, this is true. Hal is in the business center somewhere. You're so on it, Prof. That's exactly where I am. How did the Trump ad-lib history? Did Trump ad-lib history he did not know? It's more complicated than that. Because I have a theory, and I want to save it for the show, but I will I will bring it up on the air. I'm out of everything and too lazy to go anywhere. I might have to put it in order to sell. Okay, I have to roll back. We are already in a constitutional crisis. I agree on like 3 different fronts.
Back to you in 60, Hal.
Excellent. So rolling back to, in all seriousness, I think this country is headed towards a constitutional crisis in the form of Trump defying the Supreme Court. They'll demand his tax returns, and his response will be, make me. Yeah, I mean, this is a curious thing, because he, like, in that interview he just did with Stephanopoulos, he's like, I want to give him the taxes, but, they have to, there's something else that has to happen. The lawyers have to work through what it is, which is not true. He could just give
Back in 30.
Thank you. But I mean, even though he said that in an interview, and if the legal stuff just came through and like, yep, that's legally, we lost the battle, you got to give him your tax rate, I think you're absolutely right. He'll try that. Here's the thing, though. He doesn't have them. They're not like in a safe in his building. So I'm curious if, essentially someone just walks down there with a guard, sits in front of a computer, and types them up, and well. Oh, I got a feedback. Now it's going. For some reason, that's weird. No, it's okay. Now it's good. Okay, perfect. If I have Johnny at all, then it's perfect.
Hello,
yeah,
okay.
perfect. Yay, there we go. So I'm sure you heard his whole thing about it's the okay. Here's the quote for all times when he was giving his prosaic rendition of his beat poet version of the Star Spangled Banner, where he's basically reiterating what he did. And never mind the fact that...
Oh, say, can you see?
Oh, yeah, right. Well, it was kind of... Remember when Shatner read, did Rocket Man?
What I thought of.
Yes, that's right. He's...
Lucy in the
and
sky
the
with
rockets,
diamonds.
red glare. So he here's the quote, and this is what started it all.
The Continental Army suffered a bitter winter of Valley Forge, found glory across the waters of the Delaware, and seized victory from Cornwallis of Yorktown. Our army manned the airport. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
I'm sorry. That made me laugh out loud when that happened, and it still gets me.
Didn't he say something about the air right before that, before the ramparts?
Okay. Here's this. First of all, this is
It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Okay, so never mind that he conflates the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. We'll let that slide for a second, just for the fact that there were planes in neither one of them.
Right.
But here's what happened. He said the teleprompter went out. Now, can we just stop for a second and recognize that this is the man who ridiculed teleprompters for a living, all the while using them constantly on The Apprentice. Never, whatever. So, but then and then as soon as he gets in office, and actually later in the campaign trail when they were trying to get him back on script a bunch, they had, he was using teleprompters a lot, and the hypocrisy didn't bother anybody, and his hypocrisy never bothers his followers. It's a little silly, but even other people were like, that's the least of our worries, right? That he does that. So he comes out
It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
Okay, it had to do. And so he blames the teleprompter for this problem. This is him talking about it.
And I guess the rain knocked out the teleprompter. So, but no, it's not that. I knew the speech very well, so I was able to do it without a teleprompter. But the teleprompter did go out. And it was actually hard to look at anyway because there was rain all over it.
So, okay, how?
Can we take a call real quick?
Sure,
From
I guess
Chicago,
so.
Matt.
Absolutely, sure. Hey, Matt.
Matt, I think you've got something important to add.
Yes.
Yes, I feel like it's starting to come back to me. I was sitting in 8th grade, and we were learning about the Civil War. And there were tanks. There were Sherman tanks.
Right.
And there were planes. Didn't Lincoln have a plane? Am I losing it?
Yeah.
No. I'm starting to remember it too, Matt.
No, that's how he.
I will say this. I will actually give him the tank comment because mind you, I know he's the president, but at the same time, a lot of people don't know about tanks. I mean, Sherman tanks. If somebody says to me, "What's a tank?" I'd probably say Sherman. They're not in existence now, so maybe he didn't know about that. But the plane thing, come on, that was just him being stupid. As Stephanie Miller greatly says every single day, Mondays through Friday, he knows nothing about anything.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. That's the part, Matt. That's the part that struck me about this, and see if you can work through this with me, okay? No. I hear you. Oh, okay.
Hello?
he can't hear me, I guess. That's what the trick is. So,
All right, thanks, Matt. We lost you.
Yes, Matt will hear it off the air, but here's the thing. So maybe, Johnny, you can work through this with me. So he blames, he says the teleprompter went out. And
he
he's
did say teleprompter at least 5 times in that statement.
He did.
Yes.
But in blaming the teleprompter, the whole purpose of blaming the teleprompter is that, oh, it jumped up and I misread some words together and it wasn't my fault, and because it went out and then I got confused for a second, then I got back on message. But his ego won't even let him use the teleprompter in his excuse, and he goes, well, I knew it anyways. I knew that I could do it perfectly well without the teleprompter.
Oh, you can hear his internal dialogue going, oh, I'm talking about the teleprompter, which means I'm weak because I can't remember my speech.
Right.
I need to say I'm not weak.
Right. That's exact. And in admitting that, and Julie in our chat room saying, how do you go from ramparts to airports, though? Good grief. And I'm like,
rhyme.
Well, here's the thing. I think
I heard that the teleprompters of the Revolutionary War were actually just like tablets, maybe.
Oh, those
Maybe
poor
that's the problem.
those poor soldiers that had to lift every word. They were carved out of wood, and they would a bunch of guys would just pass them, up.
Big scrolls.
Yeah, right. But Julie brings up a good point. But I think that's exactly what happened. I think A, he doesn't know what a rampart is, and B,
I don't know what a rampart is, Hal.
Well, it's kind of a barricade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically like, I don't know what the
So
quintessential.
the Red Blair? Is that the line?
Yes, that's right.
The Flams Blursting.
Ric Flair. Ric Flair. Yeah. Right. So somebody tore apart Ric Flair. I don't know how it worked out, but the point is, he did.
Just burst apart.
I think he went to I think he saw that in the teleprompter, didn't know what it was. Yeah, and officially, I'm right, but I will read you the official definition so everybody knows what a rampart is so you don't feel dumb.
Okay, thank you.
A defensive wall or castle or walled city having a broad top with a walkway, typically a stone parapet. It's also a fortify or surround with, as if with a rampart. So basically,
how does a rampart burst in the air?
With
the glare?
No,
Like
they're being fired upon. They're being shelled, and the walls were coming down.
Right.
The things you're behind, picture trenches in World War II. This might help you a little bit
Nobody puts me behind a rampart.
because there were yes, that's right. Because there were planes involved. This might help you.
Okay.
As you get, as things get bombed, they explode in front of you. The barriers that are protecting you are being blown apart. That's okay. So he sees Rampart.
Napoleon?
Yes, when Napoleon attacked us during
Napoleon
the
blown
War of
apart?
Napoleon blown apart. So this is what I think. I think he sees the word Rampart, doesn't know what it means, thinks he's misreading it because he doesn't recognize it, immediately goes to, it must be airport, and says airport. That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
I think, and then his only fallback was. So, you're welcome. Was that too much? That was too much? Was it painful?
He scared the hell out of Devin. Both hands came
What the hell?
off the board, and he
Okay.
goes, "What the hell is that?"
Right. So that was Milli
Scared me
Vanilli.
too.
Milli Vanilli will knock you out.
The
So
fidelity was alarming.
it was pretty good. It was pretty solid.
Yeah.
I'm getting it's odd to have as good audio as we're having. I'm almost, I don't want to jinx it. I'm not talking about it. Chat room knows. The chat room knows. So anyways, I wanted to get that out of the way at the top of the show just because it was kind of the big orange Cheeto in the room.
Yeah.
But I have to say I enjoyed watching it rain on his parade, quite literally. I mean, it was, and they overdid it with the fireworks because one of his donors donated a bunch of the fireworks and got, amazingly enough, tariff concessions on fireworks from the China negotiations. What do you know? What are the odds? But they overdid it with them so much because you could tell it was his idea. He was like, I want the biggest fireworks. I just want incredible, like whatever it was, whatever Obama did, double it. Double that. And they did.
More calls
And then you couldn't see it. And then you couldn't see anything because there was too much smoke. Because part of it, for next year, folks, part of a great fireworks display is timing it and not overdoing it so you can see them all. So the end doesn't look like UFOs landing in a cloud bank. But we'll be back right after this. It's Hal Sparks Radio Program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Infotainmentwars.com is our website. That'll take you straight to the YouTube, and you can join in the chat. Like and subscribe us there. We're trying to hit that 10K number. If you watch any YouTube at all, it's not like we spam you with stuff. You can subscribe and vanish into the ether. It just helps us. Please do it if you and hit that like, chat room. I'm looking at you. Okay, we'll be back. Yeah. Yeah, so Julie, Julie says, that's why I thought it said ports and he substituted airports because he's that dumb. Well, I think he saw Ramparts and didn't know, and then he does that stupid thing where he's like, I totally meant to say furniture, like whatever it was. And the Ramparts red flare, yeah. And my hemorrhoids are there. Thank you. Too much, sorry. It was very loud. I apologize. Ramparts was a well-produced magazine in the late 60s, early 70s from far-left folks opposed to the Vietnam War. How odd is that? Well, that's probably why he refused to memorize what the word was. It's a long way to go for a joke. I didn't go all the way, Jim. I appreciate you. I'm just trying to, because I've made progress audio-wise, I'm just trying to up the game now. I know I'm getting out over my skis, but I'm trying to help. Please forgive me if I get too carried away.
2 minutes, Al.
Okay, cool. Yeah, over the Ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, right. But Cornwall surrendered at Reagan National, that's right. Chat's rocking, I can hardly keep up. Yeah, we got a good group of people in here today. Yes, thank you, Carl. Thank you so much. Let's see. If there's a God, thank him for raining on Trump's head anytime. It was so, perfect, Yes, thank you, Carl. Appreciate that. Hit the like if you could. Somewhere. Oh, it's down here because you guys. Yeah, it was, Charles. It was cloudy indeed, and that certainly had an effect. But
Hey, Hal, you got the Ravinia spot to download, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think it should be in my. It should be down. Yeah, there it is. I think.
All right, because once we get back from this break, I'm gonna have Johnny do the thing, recuse you, and then that's your cue to read the spot.
Cool. Like it. Yeah.
Thank you. Back to you in 60.
Okay. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, now I have to come in for one of these. This is awesome. Ghostbusters. That's cool. All right. I'm doing live read commercials now for the station. I don't get paid for them.
You're officially an employee here now.
That's right. I don't get paid for them, but I'm glad to do them if it helps the station because I'm a team player. That's how he does everything, Hal. Even his buildings are so ridiculously overdone that they're being. His buildings are so ridiculously overdone they end up being an eyesore, just like his fireworks. It's true. Well, is it going to be a trigger? No. Welcome back. Hey. Oh, we've got a little sponsor thing to do here, and I'm actually excited about it because it's very cool. This is
really neat.
Yes, it is. Have you ever seen a movie at Ravinia? Have you ever done that, Johnny?
I haven't. I mean, I love going to see movies with audiences because I like getting the whole community, the big reaction and everything.
Well, this
but
is.
I haven't been to a place as big as Ravinia.
So yeah, so Ravinia Festival, they're doing a thing where they digitally remove the score and they have an orchestra perform the music live and sync to the movie as it's shown on giant screens in the pavilion and on the lawn,
That is
and
ridiculous.
it's really cool. And it's a great experience. There's 10,000 fans laughing at the same jokes, sobbing at the same sad moments. And the lineup that's coming up includes
These movies. These are all classics.
I know. I'm angry that I'm not going to be there in town for a few of these. Now I'm trying to how do I rearrange my schedule?
Yeah,
This is really cool.
So
So
the first one, I almost missed this one. The first one is West Side Story. I mean, that's perfect.
yeah, on July 12th, just coming up. Ghostbusters on July 21st. That's really cool.
Man.
On the waterfront in front August 9th. And the animated family classic Coco on September 15th. That's
already
a
a classic?
possibility. Huh? I think so.
Yeah, Coco's already a classic. Yeah.
I think so.
That'll be amazing.
So tickets are on sale at ravinia.org. That's pretty sweet. That's actually
that
worth
seems like
doing.
a neat experience.
Yeah. I mean, that's for my first commercial read on the show. I think that's pretty darn good, or maybe my second.
Right
But one day we'll get to catheters and teddy bears. But
That's right.
that's
I was gonna say if we can.
That's the big money.
Diapers.
That's right. That's
and supplements. Some kind of
everything Rush
supplement.
Limbaugh wears to work. Is we've got to eventually do an ad for.
Yeah, speaking of Rush Limbaugh, whether Ike is on the hold.
Oh, right on. I don't know if you dare say that to him. What?
Well, no, he's he's our anti-Rush Limbaugh.
This is true. All right, I'll give him.
You got
Who
the
knows?
pipes
Maybe
for
I
it.
could have blown him out in the water for you. We got started.
Yeah, if you can't do that, you can always do
guys.
you too.
30 days in the hole. I've been miserable.
Aw.
But I am now on mend. I'm starting to see a little daylight. I'm crawling back out of the grave.
Thank you for choosing to grace us with your
rough.
presence. Yeah.
And I heard you did a podcast with Stephanie. I'm looking forward to hearing that, pal.
Yeah. The
I don't know if you can hear me or not.
I can hear you. He can't hear
no
me.
Sound coming back at me.
Yeah, I don't
but
think so.
listen, while I've got you on the phone, I've made it a practice to just ignore the big orange Cheetolini completely. I'm burned out. I've had enough. I'm tired of the excuses coming from the Democrats. Well, we're talking about it, and we're going to maybe subpoena somebody next week. And then maybe the week after that, we'll have a little meeting in behind closed doors. But if they can't make it, then I don't know. I'm sick of all this crap, so I'm just not paying attention to it. What I am paying attention to is the substantive actions that are going to be taken and that are being taken. Two of the big ones that have come to light and are coming to light, one of the biggest to me is the Jeffrey Epstein case. If you've been following it, the Miami Herald is the place to follow it. But that judge down there has said, okay, we're going to release transcripts. And if they release, by the way, I will caution you, that could also include Bill Clinton, which I could give a tinker's damn about. I don't care who they are. If they were involved, I say burn them at the stake. But, this will open up Acosta, Epstein, Trump, Dershowitz, happen. And I also want to watch, and I still am wondering where the Flynn transcripts are that they were supposed to release. I'm also waiting to see the commissioner for the IRS thrown in jail. I want to start seeing these people brought up on contempt and thrown in jail. Now, if they could do what they did to the McDougalls underneath Bill Clinton and have one of them die in jail and have the other one serve 18 months, I think the time for excuses and all this. Well, I think we might call them, and hopefully they can come meet with us. And, all this pussyfooting around by these Democrats needs to stop. And, by the way, one other thing. You know what? They better stop pandering to the Latino crowd, and they better get on the stick. And they better start refining their messages and quit being a bunch of idiots, whether it's arguing with Joe Biden about busing or whether it's this whole Latino thing about, well, we'll just open the borders and let everybody in, instead of taking the rule of law and saying we're going to deal with it in a comprehensive fashion, the same way we're going to deal with guns, the same way we're going to deal with the healthcare industry, the pharmaceutical industry. We're going to have an ordered way to do these things with enforceable laws and legislation, et cetera, instead of acting willy-nilly and stupid about it. I agree with that cover that they showed, where all those people had their hands up on that stage, and the headline read, "Who wants to lose the election?" Because you start talking about handing away free health care to illegal immigrants, I got news for you. You're going to have a bigger problem than what you've already got.
You're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. I'm getting a bounce back when you try to feed him to me. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm gonna mute you guys. Come in my direction for a second until that's whatever change you made, so he could hear me or try that bounces back to me. So, what I am gonna say is, yeah, I'm getting bounce back. There we go. That's better. I personally, the question about illegals receiving, undocumented immigrants or illegals or people at the border or in those facilities receiving health care, or if they're covered under your plan. I think that question covers multiple layers of the issue. And I think you could listen to how people answered it in the debate and get a picture of sort of how they heard it. The first one being is that there are two fronts. One is DACA recipients being able to transition into, becoming citizens over time. During that time, it makes sense for them to be able to, if there is a shift in how health insurance occurs in the country, participate in that, because they are on a path to citizenship. They have special DACA protection because of how long they were in here. That makes sense. And I think most of the plans that they're talking about deal with that. The other part that their plans deal with, and I think people will probably clarify this as it goes on, because this is more of a Reed's issue, and I think this was how both Biden and Buttigieg were directly attacking this issue, was the stories where people had been denied direct medical care while in the facilities or in transition or in the custody of Customs and Border Patrol, and not receiving that care. So there, and the sort of Trump administration's idea that you don't have to, that it's not their, it's not their responsibility, and I think they were giving a compassionate answer on that front, right? And I think if that makes sense. Yeah. So, and I think nobody included in their plan, by the way, says that non-citizens get Medicare for all simply by crossing the border into the country. Like, that's not going to happen, and because you would effectively destroy the entire system in a couple of years, just because people would storm into the country whenever they were sick, receive health care, and then probably go home afterwards. It's a very tricky thing. And again, this is why the Affordable Care Act is 3,000 pages long. Because this is this is one of the deep reads aspects of how you handle it. Who gets it, who doesn't, who it's available to, who receives what levels of care. And I think all of the Democrats are saying, basically, DACA and people transitioning will receive that care. Now, there is they're going to have to work out what they mean by people paying into Social Security and into the Social Security Trust Fund and not getting anything back, and who those people are and how long they're here. And that's why we need comprehensive immigration reform. But none of them, and they need to say this, are offering long-term health care to anyone who just sets foot in the country based on taxpayer dollars. Because no country that has a single-payer system or has any version of universal health care in their country can afford to do so and would bankrupt themselves doing it. So and again, this is one of those things that where bureaucracy is necessary, where the mechanics of how this works and to what level will be incredibly important. Integral Destiny in our chat room says something that also applies to a lot of these. There's a contagious disease issue too. You don't want a lot of people not getting vaccines, healthcare, so you as a citizen don't get exposed to such diseases. That's exactly true. So there is an aspect of this that a lot of people don't, kind of consider, because they're like, oh, I don't want to help those people. Why do they? What they're paying for when they're not even a citizen of the country, right? So I personally think that will get cleaned up in the conversations going forward. Whoa, that was weird. Is there yeah, sorry. The lights went out in here because I haven't moved in a while. So I was like, oh my God, the power went out in the room I'm in. So
and then Milli Vanilli started playing really loud.
No, that didn't. Why would you even think? I'm sorry. Don't ask for it. You'll get it.
That song's been haunting me in my nightmares now.
I know. That's the goal. I'm going to rickroll you in the next break. You just wait. So we'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Yeah, so we need universal health care or at least single payer. I think it's kind of the other way around. Single payer is the prime. Universal health care would be the at least, meaning that you have a...
We're going to have another one coming up later.
Yep. By the way, I can hear you guys now, and I'm getting a bounce back of myself. So you know.
Still getting a bounce back, Al?
Yeah, not now. I'm not. So I was probably hearing it over speakers or something like that. If you had
okay, I'm gonna try something that should hopefully make it so the callers and you can hear me. If that gets you to have a bounce back, just let me know and I'll switch everything back to normal.
Yeah, cool. No worries. And Johnny, you can jump in with the callers because they can't hear me. If they can't hear me, and just kind of engage, and then I'll answer from my end when we finish the call. You know what I mean? You can help me transition out of it. That kind of thing. Yeah. And this is the issue, Carl, too. Medicare is a wonderful program that should be extended to more Americans, but it was never designed to be a magic bullet to solve all insurance issues. It does cover about 80%. Right. And it also only covers catastrophic health issue. What Medicare means to do Medicare for all. It wouldn't technically be Medicare
online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH.
Whoa, that was loud. So they're trying to get revenge from. Oh yeah. I'm just gonna totally.
That fixes everything, Hal. If you get an echo during this break, just let this next segment in 40 seconds. Just let me know.
Fantastic. Let's see. I forgot about the clapper. I would never. I got too hot for TV for a second. Oh, did it? Do we have an issue on there? I'm specifically not watching the YouTube feed so that I don't eat up any more bandwidth out of this hotel's system. Some people have weird goals, like Billy Hutchins. I can't wait to catch the measles. Well, that's the thing too. That's exactly right. So, vaccinations, are a crucial part of public health. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. We've added 5 new Patreons in the last week. We lost 1, but we gained 5 others, so that really helps. Yeah. We
got someone on the line. This is kind of far away, but we got someone on the line who knows all about Ramparts.
Oh, that's excellent. Great. We have a Rampart expert. Hello?
Hello. This is Tom. Is this the call you want?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, Tom. Go ahead.
No, not a Rampart expert. It's just journalistically speaking. I try to go back to original source. So the actual, I'm not going to recite them all, but the lyrics for the song we call the Star Spangled Banner,
or the Ramparts we watched. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The reference is all about what the singer is seeing, which is the flag, the huge flag flying above Fort McHenry, above the ramparts. So they're looking at the flag, which is flying over the ramparts.
Yes.
And they watch as the rockets and the munitions are going towards it, not doing anything to it. And when the attack is finished from outside, the flag is still flying there. So that's what it's about. So there's no attack on the ramparts other than the attack on the fort.
Right.
The ramparts are simply the top, as you said earlier, the fortification on top of the wall on top of the fort. So that's it. So there's no action by the ramparts, and there's nothing that's going to happen.
So those ramparts are really just lazy, is what you're saying.
They weren't. You know, that's the. Here's the interesting thing I think is funny is a rampart is a wall, and it's specifically a wall built to defend yourself against attacking hordes.
Airplanes in the
You would think of all things, Donald Trump would know what a rampart is. As the word wall became less popular, in his attempts to build his weird, slat fence, that he would have picked up the word.
Pay for the rampart.
Right. This is American rampart, just like in our Star-Spangled Banner. We over the ramparts, like we threw ore over the we were rowing. I don't know.
Rowing with the oar. So, number one, you guys are our ramparts.
Thank you.
Wall of protection. It's true. I mean, if by definition, it's true. And the other thing is, I do like the couplet that somebody put together, which was, "Man the ramparts, ram the man parts."
Right. Yes. Well, that was I think I saw David Frum or somebody was like, he was just lucky he dodged not saying ram the man parts.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, with an oar.
Anyway, thanks, you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much.
I appreciate all the talking.
Oh, I appreciate. Thank you, and I'm glad we're your prophylactic rampart against the evil talk of the right.
This is all very awkward for me.
It is very awkward, but I like it that way. So sorry, I got that we got. I blame it on the rain personally. I'm just trying to scare you every time. So okay, let's talk a little bit too about the attempt, how Pelosi is approaching the impeachment proceedings and where she is in doing that. In the impeachment hearings, you're going to want to either force them in public to take executive privilege and visibly in front of the American people because it's an unpopular position to take most of the time, or you're going to want to beat back their attempts at it early in court. So if they have the right to claim executive privilege, you want them to do it verbally in open session on camera in an impeachment hearing. If they can do it in writing at any point, you want, and the lawyer can speak for them, like in closed session, for example. You want them to do that, early, and then fight it in court, so you can actually get the information. Because ultimately, what you want is the evidence. It's great political theater for them to be able to, claim executive privilege for things. But this absolute immunity nonsense that they're trying with Hope Hicks, this test case in and of itself, the Democrats need to win that first so that during the impeachment hearings they can basically dump all the evidence on the American people. That's the strategy currently right now. And I know it's long and frustrating, but this is from The Hill. The legal history, more Democrats urge Speaker Nancy Pelosi to start impeachment proceedings. She has pointed to the party's recent wins in court against Trump as proof that the party doesn't need to initiate a move that comes with significant political pitfalls. The legal history backs up her approach. Judges tend to side with Congress's oversight powers in court battles over executive privilege. Impeachment proponents on Capitol Hill argue that moving forward with an inquiry would strengthen Democrats' hands when it comes to other oversight matters. Some legal experts argue that even without impeachment, House Democrats are likely to win their court fights with the administration, even if those fights make it all the way to the Supreme Court. I think it's Congress, a member of the special prosecutors team during Watergate told The Hill. Others, meanwhile, say that pursuing an impeachment inquiry over traditional investigations would give lawmakers an edge in court with respect to certain legal battles, especially those over related materials to former special counsel Mueller's investigation. I think the tipping point will be the 17th. I think Mueller's investigation is them breaching the floodgates. That's the trick. Would you agree, Johnny? Yes.
Well, as far as the Mueller tipping point goes, there's so much water under the bridge with that now. They've almost accomplished their goal to make people think that like when Trump said, "Oh, this again,"
right.
like he's made it seem like this is old news, even though it's
just said we still don't have 50% of House Democrats in favor of impeachment. That's true. I think a lot of them are also waiting to snap forward on a pivot point that's obvious. So it doesn't help to do it beforehand for some of them in their districts. So they are waiting till kind of either Mueller or someone comes up and pleads the fifth visually in front of everybody, and it creates a huge stink. Those things are necessary to trigger the a full-fledged impeachment inquiry or the equivalent investigations thereof. And I think the Mueller investigation, which is I think a week from Wednesday, is it? And the Mueller his testimony is a week from Wednesday,
think so.
Something like that, is going to have a major impact on this. This will either it will either stunt it. There's a possibility it could do that, a very slight chance that people are like, well, it's covered and we're done and we don't need to do any more, blah, blah. Like the Republicans will push that angle. But if the public at all gets a whiff that he has more story to tell and he's not telling it, and the rest of his staff needs to be called forward, and then the Trump administration starts pushing a major legal fight to stop the rest of Mueller's team or other elements of the White House from actually testifying in open session or at all in the case of like they tried with Hope Hicks. And that court case, as it plays out, will be a factor in timing as well, because I think her next testimony, because it has, if they win in court, if the Democrats win in court, and there's every reason to believe that they will, because absolute immunity isn't a thing, she will have limited immunity or limited, privilege on a couple of things, perhaps. Maybe she was around during certain discussions about national security issues and other stuff like that, or if she witnessed conversations about policy that, especially foreign policy, they can make that argument. But for the most part, the vast majority of what she did while she was there is communicable. And so they lose that court case. These are the two pivot points, I think, that are coming up. Mueller's testimony and Hope Hicks having to go back in front of Congress and actually say everything. And whether she does it in open or closed session, I think it'd be better in open session because everybody will watch it. And they can always bring her back and make her read from her own testimony in front of Congress. That's the other thing, too. If you're setting what is effectively, the person is going to lie to you out of either loyalty or insanity, what you want her to do is you want to either, even if she comes back in closed session, you want her to read her parts of her transcript in open session the third time she comes in. And then you hit her. I mean, this is a court case. This is like an ongoing legal suit. We'll be back. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. Hit that like on the YouTube channel. Thank you guys very much. We'll be back right after this. We got a break for the news. Follow at JMillion on Twitter and at Hal Sparks on Twitter. We'll be back right after this. Ike, we are we're happy you're healthy, or you're at least on the mend. We appreciate you, brother.
Another earthquake, Florida explosion. I'm Ann Cates. Southern California is contending with a second major earthquake.
The 6.4 earthquake that struck Thursday was the largest in 20.
And then following up with the 7.1 that just happened. I'm just so you know, Chicago, I've got you muted because news is coming my way, and I'm talking to my chat and all that kind of stuff. Nancy's laying low. Time goes by so quickly. We'll get there. I agree. Ever agree, but the media is controlled by conservatives. Even if they speak right now, the word won't get out. That is definitely an issue. If you listen to the conversation, like CNN's coverage of Trump's 4th of July was oddly congratulatory. I'm not quite sure what their deal was, but it was weird. They're like, kind of this like Trump slams his critics with a, like spikes the ball on 4th of July. Like it was odd. And this is a you make a good point, Carl. And this is this is the argument about how they're going to lead into this. The number of House Democrats favoring impeachment is growing. Also, the number is waiting for leadership to move in that direction. In other words, to actually lead. Yeah. So some of them are waiting for the cue. I don't believe that cue is not coming. I believe that cue is coming. That's my own personal belief on what they're doing. So here endeth the lesson. Thank you. Look out. Why would Mueller plead the Fifth? Not him. Mueller would not plead the Fifth or take executive privilege, I don't think. I think he'll stay within the confines of what he said in his report. But there are certain parts that he's going to have to answer, that are outside the scope. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Please become a Patreon supporter if you absolutely have any ability to do so. It greatly helps us. Like I said, we gained 5 and lost 1 this week, but we're at 55 now. That's great. Our goal is 100 currently. And next week, week after next, 16th, 17th, and 18th. The 16th, I'm hosting the Jam at the Whiskey, and so I'm going to post some of the songs to the patrons on there, and then the 17th and 18th are Irvine in California and Burbank in California. Both those shows will be posted to patrons as well for free. So, if you do $5 or $10 a month on the Patreon, you get a free comedy show. You know what I mean? And it's there. There you go. So, anyways, that helps a lot. If you don't want to sign up for monthly kind of things and you want to do a one-time, infusion for the show or help us out in any way, paypal.me/HalSparks will, because I know some people have been emailing me about helping with some of the tech or getting us, a video streamer or any of those kind of things to keep the feed going. So that's a potential as well. That would be really helpful. So there you go. A gym in South Florida exploded? It did? Yipe. Oh yeah, at CNN, yes, they brought that person on. Yeah, Summer and Camden and my mom felt the earthquake too, and Ethan, they were like, that was a new one for them. I've been through a bunch of them, so. Oh, sorry, I don't want to. Am I muted? Coming back. Okay, I unmuted them. I almost forgot. Whew. You can bet that Trump will do something to divert attention away from the Mueller hearing. That's what he does in order. Yeah, darn tootin', I think you're right. There's an element of that. Like I said, the tweets and all that stuff are him weaponizing your attention. I think the border stuff is largely that. I don't think they intend to solve it, which is why it's gotten worse. If they had a strategy, I think, thanks, Carl. And I think we're all on the same side of this. So is Hal in slow-mo? Oh. Yeah, that's right. Go to infotainmentwars.com. Just put that in your bookmarks. That'll help you find it every week. It's really help. Oh, and share the show right now if you could. That would really help us out too as we enter our second hour. Out to Facebook, out to Twitter, wherever your favorite social media thing is. Just take the link and throw it over there. Excellent, thank you. Free. Did someone say free? Yes, that's right. Da, da, da. But wait, there's more. Every 5th Patreon gets a free used catheter. Terrible. A commemorative item. Yeah, Carl, you guys felt that one too. Yeah, well, the direction, he goes, our friend in Brea, about 10 miles northwest, felt one of those recent quakes more strongly than we have. Yeah. Well, it's where the plate is. Ridgecrest is where we shot Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town. I'll talk about that one day. Whoa.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Fuss-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
So the earthquake that struck, like California and Nevada in the last, 4 days.
Did you feel it?
No, well, no, because I'm in Florida right now.
Wait, that's really far away from California.
That's true.
Where do you live?
I'm doing stand-up in Jacksonville, Florida, this weekend. So I've got.
Do they understand comedy in Florida?
They do now. No, it's actually a great place. My first time here, but it's an adventure. And Michelle SFL from our chat room showed up, got to come up. She made a long drive from another part of the state. So one of the Blue Patch Brigade got to come
Florida
up.
Florida is giant.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's a peninsula, and it's very long. And
I thought you were about to get blue there.
I almost did. Well, we got to turn the peninsula blue.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So the earthquake, the center of it is around a place called Ridgecrest, California, which, on a personal note, that's where I and all the other crew and everybody else filmed Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town, my first movie ever.
That, with Martha Quinn.
That's right, with Martha Quinn and a young Billy Bob Thornton. And
really?
Yeah, it was apparently the movie where he looked in the mirror while he was getting his makeup done and said, I got to change my life or I'm going to be making crappy B-comedy stupid movies forever. And he wrote Sling Blade right after that, so it inspired him. I, on the other hand, was like,
that's a weird
I've hit the big time. Yeah, right. Yeah, it is. I on the other hand at 18 was like, I've hit the big time.
I'm in a movie.
Yeah, right. I played a blind orphan.
I remember you shooting. You were blind in that movie. If I recall.
And I carried an Uzi. I fought zombies.
Yeah, you
and I
shot
was blind.
it. You shot said Uzi.
I did. I blew
at Chopper Chicks.
No, at zombies. Yes, yeah. Don Calfa was in it, who was famously in, umpteen movies in the 80s, is kind of spooky Italian-looking dude. And Ed Gale, who, as Chucky, had the longest burn in film history, like covered in, a costume and grease, like the longest costumed physical burn where he was on fire.
Really?
Yeah.
On camera.
Yeah.
No cuts.
Yeah, as a little person, like having that record was pretty impressive. Anyway, so what I'm basically getting at is
just forget that he was on fire. How do you get that record?
What?
Don't forget to put him out. What?
No,
oh my God!
Right? Yeah, right.
Did
no,
we set a record?
He just kept at it. But I will say this. Here's the thing: the people in Ridgecrest were nicer than they needed to be. Like they were great to us while we were filming there. Little known story. So the budget broke down in the last 3 days of filming because we went over for some reason. And they people in town, they hired people in town to cook for us instead of having caterers. So they paid this lady to make basically burgoo, this big stew for us every day. So we ate like pirates. It's a stew with God knows what in it, Oh,
and, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you got some local flavor.
Yeah. So anyways, that was in Ridgecrest, and bless those people. They were lovely. So did you already have a show last night? Yes, I had a show last night, and then I have 2 tonight. And then on the weekend, so I have those upcoming shows. The patrons will be able to watch those shows because they'll stream to them in private, which is lovely. It's nice to be able to give some perks. And then I'm hosting the Jam at the Whiskey and singing on it's Canadian night on the 16th. So we're celebrating Canadian bands.
Triumph?
Yeah. So I'm going to do probably Lay It on the Line. I think somebody else might do Fight the Good Fight. And then obviously no one else will want to do the Nickelback songs, so I'll end up doing those. I want to throw in a Danko Jones songs, and we will definitely open the show with Spirit of the Radio. Because I think that's appropriate, So then, anyways, we love our friends to the north. They figured out a bunch of things. They've got
the Danko Jones and Chad from Nickelback have they have a truce now. They actually they hang out, and the Chad gave him advice when he was putting his new record together. Oh no, you know what? I'm sorry, it's not Danko. It's actually Devin Townsend, another Canadian artist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the grandfather, the godfather of all this, is Bryan Adams. He basically they come and kiss they come and kiss his ring in Vancouver, and almost everything is recorded up there. So I want to talk for a second, as we get diverted, talking about people in other countries. This whole census question issue that Trump. Obviously, this is a strategy by right-wingers to disenfranchise, Latino voters across the country, diminish their impact on the election, push back on it. And one of the ways that they're going to do it is this they believe is this subtle strategy, and there's science to back up that it would actually do this. That by putting a citizenship question on the census, that people would feel they would not answer the census at all. They would either, if they didn't check that question, they would just kind of not answer it, and therefore the entire family. Let's say if they had somebody in their house, they're like, "Is everybody in your house a citizen? If not, who?" And if you're only dealing with people who have, who are here on a visa, if you have an exchange student in your home, these are details worth knowing. But that's not what the purpose of this is. The purpose of this is that these houses that where they may have an undocumented person in the family who's there, who works, in some cases may even support the family, so strategically you deport that person, the other people in the house are now on the public dime. If that's your strategy for, helping the taxpayer, it's not really functional. But the idea is that they'll just not answer the whole thing, and therefore they won't be reflected in the census. Going forward, and they would have gotten away with this, but for Scooby-Doo and those ridiculous kids.
Those meddling kids.
One of the operatives mentioned this in his emails, and then he proceeded to croak, and his widow or his ex-wife gave his emails to the authorities. And they noticed that he had been strategizing precisely this, the disenfranchisement of Latino voters, specifically to undermine their impact in voting, which is illegal and is, of course, weaponizing the census for that purpose. And the court said, you can't do that, go pound sand. And so in fixing, and Trump's attitude on this is that they're going to get it through well, listen to this quote. Okay, so a conservative judge, and some of his own judges that he put there disagreed with their argument and pushed back on it. They lost in court. This is how his reply on it.
It's one of the ways that we're thinking about doing it very seriously. We're doing well on the census.
Yeah. So he thinks we're doing well on the census. They're doing great. Hold on.
See what happens. We can also add an addition on, so we can start the printing now and maybe do an addendum after we get a positive decision. So we're working on a lot of things, including an executive order.
Okay. So he was asked. Are they going to be able to get it? Are they going to go ahead with it? Because he's been. There's been back and forth pushing. He was going to defy the court and do it anyways. I'm going to do it through an executive order. Legally, he can't do that. I mean, there's just simply will be shut down. So what the attempt now is this addendum idea that he'll write an executive order then an addendum to the census be presented with it, where, by the way, it will have like a page that just says, "Are you a citizen? Or do you like me? Check this box." And ultimately, for those concerned about the disenfranchisement of voters, ultimately this will undermine their attempts to do it in the first place. But it will give them legal ground for doing it in 10 years. This is what they don't care if it fails this time. So that's that. Court-wise, when they address this, now on its face, in a material sense, all things being equal, if you could trust the government to, work out DACA the way legally they're supposed to, you wouldn't have to fear a citizenship question in a lot of these things, because we'd have immigration reform. We'd deal with people who had overstayed visas, who were here illegally, and weren't in a pipeline to become citizens, or didn't have strong ties to the community, those kind of things. It wouldn't be as much of an issue. But the entire purpose of it is to weaponize it so that they can, by the way, they can eliminate those people in those districts. This is the part that bugs me the most about this, is that the answering of this question is not, their purpose for this in the emails that were back and forth were not about people will answer this, or people who don't answer this will know are guilty or something of harboring a fugitive illegal immigrant, that what they'll, so we'll send in ICE or Customs and Border Patrol to get them, right? That isn't what the strategy they talk about in the emails. I'm sure they'd like that as a potential, but their goal in it is specifically to get people not to answer that question, so that they're not represented in the next 10 years because they're getting busted on these gerrymandering things. They need to be able to, they're finding other ways to gerrymander districts to undermine the actual vote of the people involved. So even though this will be an addendum, and even though people won't answer that part of it, they'll answer the whole census and then just pretend they never saw that extra piece of paper. It sets a legal precedent where that can be in the future, and in the future they will use that because that's the goal overall to, as a form of gerrymandering. That's the purpose of this. And hopefully the court will see through that. We'll be back. Yes, in the Supreme Court ruling, you are correct. I'm talking about like on the state level in a couple of areas, but yes. Let's see. The only reason they wouldn't care is because they plan to be in power 10 years from now. Not if I can help it. Indeed. Trying to win the census when a Marine. Well, that's exactly it. They are trying to. The census itself. They've always wanted to weaponize it as a nationalistic document to, as a isolationist document. Another place. Oh, I've got to move so the lights don't go out. Forgot about Rosary College. You guys are on a side note about the colleges. Oh, I hear Lady B.
How are you?
Hi. Yay.
Hi, triplet. Different months and different moms.
Aw.
60
Hi.
seconds, Hal.
Okay, cool.
And also, we got to do that Ravinia live read again this hour. You want to just do the same thing right after the half, when we come back after the half
Yeah,
hour
let's do
break?
that. That's
All
great.
perfect. Thank you.
The computers in here keep starting up on their own. Aw. You just became an air traffic controller. That's right. Yeah, everybody in the chat saying hi, Lady B.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, how are
Hi.
you?
Good. The chat room is all saying hi to you, by the way. Can't Stop Line says,
Hi,
hey, Bedelia.
chat room.
Always good to hear Lady B in the house. We're doing good. So, oh, was that me or was that you? Can we just can I just take a moment, an aside, through all this mess, to just enjoy Megan Rapinoe for a minute? Can we just?
How cool is she?
Yeah. So, and what an amazing person to break through, and because the issue with women's soccer, like a lot of women's sports, quite frankly, is especially professional, is viewership. Is that everybody, most professional and most of the women's teams simply just don't draw the eyeballs. They just don't. And so they make less, but it doesn't mean they work any less hard or the game is any less difficult or any of that. But one of the things that's necessary is raise the profile of the sport. Make it exciting to, draw the attention necessary. Maybe it's people habitually didn't watch, certain women's sports, and that's just a habit you gotta, to break, or introduce the sport to a new generation of people who would and who do like it. And in the case of women's soccer, both through her, language, and which I appreciate, and her sort of, fearless approach to it, she's drawn a lot of attention, and it's the best part of the whole kind of the actuality. The best part about it is watching people get excited about the games. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like in the case of Colin Kaepernick, for example, the activism, which is important, can swamp the game, and you're competing with the power of the game you're playing for the attention around it. There was a sort of a perfect storm around women's soccer where it was certainly more popular, than I think people give it credit for, but it needed, breakout stars to introduce it, and so it was like kind of a perfect storm in terms of Megan Rapinoe saying what she said, drawing attention to these games, and then Trump kind of doing this stupid, you better win first, lady, Mr. Bone Spurs, who encourages people to join the military at his big 4th of July thing when he did, when he got out on that, But can we just say it's nice to watch, beyond the fact that the activism is having a very important impact. She's a great LGBT icon now, but on top of that, it's also doing the job beyond the activism, beyond the impact that she's having as a human being on other human beings of her kind. She's also doing the job that goes with it. You know what I mean? She's also being an amazing player and drawing attention to the sport and making it exciting for people. So it is very difficult a lot of times.
I hate to go here, but I think she looks awesome. I love her hair.
No, she's got a great style. There's nothing wrong with that.
So awesome.
Yeah, no, she's great. She's, it's fantastic. And, and the pictures, like people putting her on the lawn in the lawnmower shot with Trump and stuff, like it's hilarious, And, I think a lot of times it happens, and this happens with, with actors and activist sports figures a lot of times, is that sadly it comes at the expense of their sport or their movie or whatever. You know what I mean? The backlash over it can diminish it or whatever. She's managed to do the exact opposite. She's managed to have her cake and shove it in Trump's face too. And
because she was she was always able to back up her talk.
That's right.
From the get. Yeah.
That's right. And it's really impressive to see her, not only her be able to speak her mind, be her truth, but also deliver for her teammates by drawing attention to the sport and making people sit down and watch these exciting games by these highly talented players. That's just awesome. So there you go. And by the way, not since Kerry Walsh have I been this excited about a female athlete in my lifetime. Because like Kerry Walsh, who won, she's a beach volleyball. She won the gold medal. I did a breast cancer benefit with her, playing volleyball with a couple of years before she played in the Olympics and won.
Oh, neat.
And I literally had tears streaming down my face when she won. Like the idea that I would be watching beach volleyball, like as a sport, because all right, I'm not a sports person in general, so I'm definitely not going to go into the deeper reads of the side things, but like when she won, I was just overwhelmed with emotion, and it was great, and it made me engage with it. That was her activism around breast cancer and mine as well, that brought us together, and that's why I was kind of personally involved in wanting her to win and that kind of stuff. And the same thing is kind of true, but it didn't take away from the game. It wasn't just like, oh, I know her personally, I hope she wins for that reason. It made the entire experience better and drew attention to the game and the athleticism. And so in the Rapinoe, we salute you. I'm just saying, really cool.
And she didn't. And just in her defense, she didn't say, "You know what? By the way, quote me on this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to the White House."
Yeah.
He asked her a question.
Right, and she gave an honest answer.
She gave an honest answer, which people just could not talk about snowflakes. People couldn't handle it. I love it.
Well, and by the way, if any athlete had not gone to the Obama White House because they thought he wasn't born in this country, the very same people who are upset of the people who are, that she's dishonoring the White House by not going or wouldn't go, that somehow you have to go and do this kind of Godfather moment by going to the White House as a building, no matter who's in there. The idea that they would have done that with Obama is just absurd. I'm not, if some dude was like, I ain't going down there to see Obama. He's born in Kenya, it's nuts. Anyway, so there is the list of the Dems in the next debate is now officially out as well. And let's see, I have to look at I had it on here and my iPad is being very slow, but it's still a bigger field than we thought. Here we go. Let's see. 1 second. Back here. There we go. It is it's interesting. I feel for Hickenlooper, I feel a little bad for him on one front. That Marianne is in and he's out. I think it's curious. But the people who are on the bubble and maybe not in, it's okay. So here it is. The 14 candidates have crossed both of the thresholds, according to Politico analysis, virtually guaranteeing their spot on either July 30th or 31st. Biden, Booker, Buttigieg, Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, Jay Inslee, Amy Klobuchar, Beto O'Rourke, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Marianne Williamson, and Andrew Yang have all made it. In theory, because they have met these points. So, and it's going to be split, a smaller thing for the moderators to deal with. I think 10 people on stage was ridiculous. I think people gave half answers to stuff, and I think it'll be better that we dig in deep going forward. So if they do a 5-and-5 night, we'll see, and then it'll boil down to 6, all on the same stage, and then a 3, and then a 2, and then there you go. It's going to be a fascinating thing, but I like hearing from all these folks. I don't agree with all their stuff, obviously, but I love the discourse, and I think the best thing we can do is look forward to working all this stuff out. It won't be worked out on a debate stage, but the idea that these great ideas from everybody will float to the top, and whoever ends up being the front runner will be able to coalesce around those. I also think look for a top 2 people in the debates and who are winning in the primaries to team up and be president and vice president almost as a guarantee. just to lock people. We'll be back. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide. Yeah, no, Billy, I don't know that those, the 5 and 5 nights I think is how they should do it. I don't know that the other 2 on either night are necessary. I'm saying it needs to shrink. I was reading when I was half reading while I was doing it. A teleprompter broke. And
all right, Hal, just a reminder when we get back from this break, it's the Ravinia spot again.
Yep.
Again.
No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you already donated to a candidate, if you donate again, does that count towards qualification? Yeah. I mean, I think they're. I don't think it's the single donation. I think it's they're meeting their thresholds of getting donations. So I don't think technically, that's the same person giving money. The idea that the same person would give more money is effectively a is considered a plus and would keep them in the running in that right. Well, okay, blame the teleprompter. That's right. Yeah. Hold on. I gotta turn this in here.
Think you're funny with that, Hal?
Yeah, I do.
Maybe I should let you play that for the next break. That can be your comeback music.
That's right. No, I turned the volume down on it, so it's not as loud though.
It's not gonna scare me again.
No.
All right. Coming back to you in 2 minutes.
Cool. Yeah, Carl's saying, I find myself leaning strongly towards Kamala Harris for her prosecutorial chops. I like her for the job of taking down Trump, which is the most important job we've got. Agreed. I mean, I think she's fantastic. Can I just say that, I personally think there's still a very strong chance it will be a Biden-Harris ticket. I think just because as we start rolling into Iowa and all these kind of things that'll affect it. Maybe not. It doesn't. I don't really have. I'm good with most of the people who are considered top tier, and I'm curious to see how Elizabeth will do when she's on the same stage with Biden and Harris too. But again, I like all of them. But I would like to say I was talking about Harris years ago. Do you guys remember? You guys have been, those of you that have been around for a long bit. Thank you. Hello. Harris isn't running for VP. I agree. No one ever does. Well, I mean, some people do, I guess, technically, but no one who's a front runner does. But I do think there's if she doesn't win, there's a very strong chance it would be pulled in to the VP slot. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that. We need to support the people running for president, not vice president. Yeah, I mean, I think I know what you mean. Yeah. Welcome back to the show.
Uh-oh.
Feedback.
Feedback.
Bounce. Bounce back to
How
myself.
about now?
There you go. That's much better. Thank you. Hey, folks, have you ever seen a movie in Ravinia?
Have you seen the new Spider-Man?
I haven't yet. No, I'm traveling. I'm going to see it with the kids tomorrow. So we're all going to go see it.
Well,
yeah.
No spoilers. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, great.
Lots of great humor. Jake Gyllenhaal is wonderful.
Excellent. Did you see Nightcrawler?
I did. That was the movie I was trying to tell you about before, Devin. Nightcrawler.
Yeah, he's fantastic in that. It's a very subtle movie.
I was telling that to Nikos. Yeah, Nightcrawler is so great. And the who is his co-star in Nightcrawler?
I'm blitzing.
His assistant.
Oh yeah. I'd have to look it up.
He's huge now.
Yeah. Yeah, and Paxton was in it too. It was one of Paxton's last films.
Yeah, it was one of his
It's great.
last ones.
So it's not one of the movies that's playing at Ravinia though. But it would be kind of
that'd be a weird one to see at Ravinia, but there's some much better fits, I think.
So if you don't know, everybody listening to the sound of my voice, what they do is they digitally remove the score, the music, and they have an orchestra perform the music live, synced to the movie as it's shown on giant screens in the pavilion and on the lawn.
So like the dialogue and everything is normal.
Everything's the same. They just do the live music. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like the beginning of Talkies, but with CG. It's great. There's like 10,000 people gathered watching these things. It's fantastic. The lineup that's coming up includes West Side Story on July 12th, Ghostbusters July 21st, and On the Waterfront on August 9th, which I would love to see. By the way, I would love to. I've never seen that in a theater. In any form.
I saw that on like VHS years ago.
Yeah, right.
That's got to be epic.
And Coco on September 15th. Tickets are on sale now at ravinia.org. The O.
Is it On the Waterfront? I could have been a contender.
Yeah, but I would
instead of a bum.
I could have been somebody.
Instead of a bum, which is what I am.
Yeah. We'll get into like the
full-on classics.
Yeah. So anyways, go to ravinia.org for those tickets. There you go. Fantastic. And thank you, Ravinia, for supporting Progressive Talk. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And by the way, those of you that support Progressive Talk, WCPT has a website in case you're traveling outside the Chicagoland area and you want to be able to listen to it. We're also on, is it iHeart? We on iHeart? Yeah. And WCPT820.com is a website that you can listen to the shows on. You can get to, they post stuff on there on a SoundCloud and everything. It's great. Or you can go to infotainmentwars.com and join in our chat room and watch the show wherever I am on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out. Become a Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/HalSparks. Or you can do a one-time gift to the show and help us out at paypal.me/HalSparks. There you go. I've done all my sales stuff in one big chunk. Look at that. Yeah. The question, I have a feeling that the border is going to be Trump's primary bulwark. It's going to be his rampart, if you will, against the Mueller testimony and the ongoing what will become the impeachment proceedings around him. I think he's going to use that as a bone to throw to a large number of his base.
Oh, yeah, this is all red meat for his crazy base.
Yeah, exactly.
And sorry, if you're out there and you're a Trump supporter, I don't mean to call you crazy, but you're nuts.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There is a comprehensive immigration bill and DACA as it was designed, and there's been some modifications to DACA that some of the candidates are interested in doing, both of which would largely solve the problem. And genuine management of an important issue like that, and the awareness that dealing with the crisis that is going on in the countries that the largest number of these people are coming from. I mean, just even the fact that you would want to go, okay, what's by volume? Is it Guatemala? Is it Honduras? Is it Venezuela? Is it southern Mexico? Where are the majority of these folks coming from that are seeking asylum? What's the primary reason they're seeking asylum, and what part can the United States play in either mitigating that damage or aiding them there so that they don't have to trek across Mexico?
Well, I've got answers for all your questions. They're coming here to take over, to ruin the American way, and to do all our jobs for nothing, and to sell drugs.
Oh, that's true as well, I suppose.
But women.
Right. Yeah. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. There is a look. Here's the thing. This is like the homeless issue. Homelessness, and I talked about this with the chat room post show last week a little bit, but homelessness is an experience a person goes through. There are no such thing as homeless people. There are people who are without homes, but that's not a tribal strategy that they live by. And if they're just kind of permanent campers, if they're transient for good reason, they don't qualify as homeless. They don't want one. You're not missing something you don't ever intend to have. If Papa was a Rolling Stone, it doesn't make him homeless. I may just snort. Look at that. But the important, the important thing, is that you deal with the homeless problem. LA's got a terrible homeless problem right now. It's been growing increasingly. But the issue is, if you look at homeless people, for example, as a tribe, calling them homeless people, or as opposed to those experiencing homeless. I'm not going to get into semantic about the word, because I'm going to use it repeatedly, I'm sure, in discussing this. But the point is, if you believe in them as a tribal human beings, as a class of people, then there's a permanence associated with that. And dealing with the problem becomes absurd. It is like, stopping someone from becoming homeless is like stopping them from being Catholic or something. It is a cause and an element of their life that you wouldn't seek to change, because there is a permanence to it. You want to end homelessness as best you can, and you have to have a strategy for the different people that are within that group. So some people have fallen between the cracks, and financially, because of medical bills or losing a job or a series of mistakes or what have you, have fallen behind, and they are in a much more limited period of homelessness, hopefully, but they can get sort of direct help. You can give them, they can go to a homeless shelter, get new clothes, a haircut, job interviews, all the NGOs. Yeah, right. All those support systems, and they will benefit from it and transition out of being homeless much quicker. But there's a large portion who are mentally ill, and they are not served in that same way, because the job programs and dressing them up doesn't help them. They need medical care, they need psychological attention, they need addiction care. But if you look at them as one group, you're never going to solve the problem, because you're going to view all of them as the same thing, right? The same thing is true at the border. You have different people coming across the border for different reasons, and you must have a mature strategy for dealing with those people. You need to, in the case of simply undocumented workers who are not here legally, who are don't have sort of migrant worker status. They are violating the law and they're crossing your border, and all countries deal with that kind of person. But treating people who are seeking asylum like that, or treating them worse like gun runners or drug dealers, which is how this administration is doing it, A, is cruel, but B, also doesn't actually move anywhere towards solving the problem. You exacerbate it. It's one of the reasons why it's gotten so bad, is because this administration is a hammer and everything is a nail. And as this will continue to get worse. Now the problem with it is, and this is my concern about this, and this is again the weaponization of your attention and getting people to kind of buy a line of thinking and stick to it, is that I think the Trump administration, or at least the campaign going forward, thinks they're going to benefit from horrible situations at the border, and they're going to blame the lack of solutions for it on Democrats in the House, or scaremonger on the plans of the people who are running to be president on the Democratic side. That's what's going to happen. It is. I mean, it's obviously a strategy they're comfortable with, but the problem with it is it adds on to the fact that they have no real impetus to solve the problem. Making it worse, actually.
No, they just want to make it bigger to make it scarier so that they can start flinging it around.
So what they have is, like you saw, like how kind of Ike's reaction to the idea that the Dems want to give health care to folks, which is obviously if you're dealing with direct medical care to people who are in the custody of CBP, or people who are DACA or on the path to citizenship who've been folded in or during comprehensive immigration reform, they will receive the same national health care system that we put in place or whatever. That both of those things are fine. It's that middle ground that the in between, people who are not DACA recipients, not long-term detention, they're either asylum seekers or people pretending to be asylum seekers who are here to work, who are basically economic migrants, who would come here if they could get health care as well as a job and operate under the radar. And then putting like kind of asylum seekers and people who've been here for a long time on a separate side. What they're doing is they're stacking all these people in these buildings, which I think the overcrowding is a strategy in and of itself. And I don't want to be too conspiratorial about this, but I actually think if you think, what image are you seeing compared to what message are you hearing? And if you're hearing, we need to provide health care to undocumented immigrants, and then you see literally like huge rooms of people jammed together, giving the illusion of that, like a stampede of humans is trying to get into the country. And what they're going to say is basically, this will be the message, and I would say watch out for it, is they're going to say the Democrats are just going to open the doors on these places. Look how packed these things are, these places we have are with people. And the Democrats are just going to want to open the doors and let everybody just walk free. That's going to be the message. And it's absurd, but it will work with a large section of people. And not all those people, by the way, are rich and white, for the record. As voters go, they weren't last time, they won't be this time. The Democrats have to have a strategy to deal with that messaging, because it's coming. Parts of it are already here, but that it's coming. We'll be back. It's the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk. Asylum escapees are on the street. Okay. Can't Stop Lying, thank you so much for being such a booster. I really appreciate it. It makes it really hard to stand your ground when you know you're not going to be heard. It's like they are right and we're wrong. That's not right. On which part, Amy? Because, I mean, you just do. I never expect anybody who's, got an antithetical point of view to give you the floor. I mean, oh my God.
60 seconds, Hal.
Cool, thanks. Maybe in the post show, Billy, I don't want to give her any more attention than the Ivanka nonsense. There you go. Ivanka thinks she'll be the next president. Oh, God. Are we doing good sound-wise? Chicago's all right? Yeah. Blame it on the rain. Oh, no. I hope I don't get a copyright strike from the sample. Jeez. Are we back? Are we there? Are we there? Hello? We good? Yeah. I like it.
Hell.
Yes. What's
Answer me.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You get me worried. You get me like I'm so touchy about the sound. Although can I say it's been great. It's worked. I don't want to jinx it, but at the same time,
I know. You should have seen the look on my face. I was just like, ah.
Don't say anything. Well, we will have a happy ending this show. I have one just because I thought I don't even know if it's a happy ending, but it's I think ultimately it's good. What a terrible way to lead into a happy ending. I think it's good. I think it's okay. It might be horrible, But you know, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. Some people in the chat were talking about nepotism Barbie, Ivanka trying to do, you know, her weird little, hey, wait up, guys, diplomacy was it at the G20? Oh,
I think
it's
so.
Just,
yeah.
Oh God,
Kind
it's
of
just
embarrassing.
it's painful. And
I
here's
just read the transcript and it really made me cringe.
That part I missed. I did not see that there was a transcript of her discussion.
It's awkward.
Oh man,
it is dialogue you would not write.
Oh no, I'm looking it up right now. Ivanka G20. Let's see, transcript. I guess. Yeah, we'll try that. Here's the thing. These guys. Have a plan after he's out of office to monetize all this. You know, this is the goal. This is
There's a goal before and it'll be the goal after.
Yeah. Oh God. So let's see. Let's see. I'm only seeing his remarks, not hers. So I'll see if I can find it or you can find it. But oh my God. Anyways, in looking at the world stage going forward, and as we enter into the what is effectively the home stretch, and I'm going to be completely honest. I feel like there should be a full court press that everybody should prepare for, starting the second Tuesday this November to next year. The idea that and we'll do it with this show, we'll do it, with meetups and live versions of the show in different places. And I'm going to be doing stand-up shows, and hopefully I can drag Steph and some other folks out to do that as well. But I think it's got to be all hands on deck as a 1-year lap. That's my goal for it. Those that are, you guys that have been here with the chat and on the YouTube pages, that over the, that I'm leading up to, that's why I've been trying to solve all of our tech issues so that we have a lot more options of being out and about. But I genuinely think it is important that every person who calls themselves a liberal or progressive, that just start getting ready for November with the idea that this is a year of activism for you, that you're going to do, some of your best, your best work yet as an advocate for both your ideas. Billy in the chat room says he's putting on his running shoes. Thank you. But I think it's incredibly important. I think, and give yourself that strategy, because there's so many emergencies. And again, I think watch for this weaponization of your attention span that will be used against you. Keep your eye on the ball and focus on, the genuinely important life-changing aspects of things. If anybody's going to try to distract you with smaller arguments about minutia, in the face of a situation where we have, children dying in CBP custody, when we have, Trump ratcheting up the possibility of war with Iran, and basically accepting North Korea as a nuclear power going forward because he can't do anything about it, and then kowtowing to Putin in a way that is incredibly dangerous to the mechanics of our election, but also to our operation as a democracy. I just think. Carl in our chat room is saying this campaign is going to be ugly, folks, very ugly, so get ready for it. Yeah, and again, keep your, Gina in the chat room says, how do I help if I'm socially awkward? Well, you wrote something in the chat room, didn't you? And that's plenty. That's great. You know what I mean? You do what you can. The other thing is, whatever's within your realm of comfort, do it.
Join the club. Hal will not invite me to parties.
That's right. Well,
he knows what that's like.
After the last 8 times, I was like, I think it makes sense.
I thought I was on a roll. He thought differently.
That's true.
I was like, my plan is really coming together. John, you are no longer invited.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. I think whatever you do as far as your activism, I would say, if you're comfortable with what you do, if you're a marcher, march. If you're, if you make signs, you make signs. It's great. If it's social media is your thing, that's great. But I would also add sending postcards and letters to your representative and other representatives that to kind of jimmy some of that stuff loose. Become an engaged citizen in those regards as best you can. But set yourself that goal to start on the second Tuesday of November. You've got plenty of time between now and then to kind of just ruminate on the idea. Give yourself some space to think about these things and go, okay, what's the best contribution I can make in these circumstances? And if you can call bank for a campaign you like, or knock on doors for somebody in the primary season, and you really feel like that's the way to do it, awesome. If that's not your thing, I mean, you can go down there and blow up balloons. There's all kinds of stuff that campaigns need, and there's also a lot of NGOs and groups and charity work that also over the next year are going to be engaged, from HRC and GLAAD to Project Angel Food to the Humane Society. They're all going to have this next election is pivotal for them as well. And so if you're not directly doing the political activism aspect of it, pick up your favorite charity and volunteer for them during that time. I do obviously do a bunch of stuff for Project Angel Food in Los Angeles. I have no doubt that they'll become more necessary over time too, as Trump continues to put the thumb screws on states and diminishes their ability to take care of their citizens who are already behind the eight ball. So that's just my little piece of advice. Okay, so I do have a happy ending. Do we want to play the happy ending song? Do we have it in there? Do we try to do it?
He's got that look on his face.
You are happy, let us be happy together. Whether the weather is cloudy or sunny, I will always be your funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky, let us get lucky together. Whether the weather is cloudy or breezy, I'll be there to say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. 'Cause isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo.
Okay, so Hitler. So one of the big fears after World War II, and
he had some okay ideas.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but largely misunderstood as an artist, right? One of the things that they always joked about with Hitler was they saved his brain. That one day they were gonna revive his brain. Okay. And of course that's not true. His double committed suicide for the Fuhrer, and Hitler escaped Argentina and died in 1963 of dementia. Can we settle that once and for all? It's fine.
Jesus.
I mean, who doesn't know that? But he's immediately who a bunch of people think of when this story came out. This is from the New York Times. Scientists are giving dead brains new life. What could possibly go wrong? In experiments on pig organs, scientists at Yale made a discovery that could someday challenge our understanding of what it means to die. A few years ago, a scientist named Nanad Sestan began throwing around an idea for an experiment so obviously insane, so wild and totally out there, as he put it to me recently, that at first he told almost no one about it. Not his wife or kids, not his bosses, or the Yale neuroscience department. Not the dean at the university's medical school. Like everybody else in the study, the idea centered on the mammalian brain. More specific, it centered on the tree-shaped neurons that govern speech, motor, and function. In short, those things that make us who we are. They took tissue, they started to regrow it 3 days after the donor brain died, and it looks like they could come back online they've kept them alive for weeks on end. They might be able to revive your dead brain. Just saying. There might be hope for you yet, Johnny. For both of us.
Just put me into Charo's body and I'll be happy.
That's true. I've always said that would be your perfect housing unit. That's right. Yep. We'll make you a synthetic one.
Thank you.
By the way, I've met Charo multiple times. She's wonderful. Stick around for the post show, everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. Devin, thank you, Lady B, for dropping in. Thank you, Johnny Million, for being awesome. Thank you for the sound working. Oh, it's so great. We'll see you next week. I'll be live from LA next week. So we'll take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. We'll see you. So, yeah, guys, I'm signing off Chicago. I'll hang up or I'll mute you. You're awesome. But not before. Sorry, okay.
No fatalities, some road damage and closures.
Is Charles still alive? Yes, she is. She is still alive. Charles is still with us. I'm going to, let's see. Do I hang up this part of it yet? I just do that? Yeah. Yes, in theory. All right, look at that. Hey, chat room, good to see you. So, 2 big steps forward, thanks to our patrons in this, in this latest broadcast. One is, of course, the service that we're using now to do audio to Chicago and back, which seemed to work pretty flawlessly this week. Hey, Jude. And it worked pretty flawlessly. This week we didn't, all the sound, like, I know the lighting in here isn't great. I'm sorry. It's just, what can I do? I'm in a business center and it's just overhead. Yeah, rain, skip, rain. The rain. Yeah, pig brains. Suey. That's right. So, and by the way, don't forget to throw the stickers up if you guys want to use them or whatever. I think we get extra points from YouTube if you're super chatting if you use the stickers. Apparently this is something they're trying to float. I think it's because they're trying to steal some of Twitch's thunder. Isn't that the plot for Flatliners? That's sort of. But I don't think ultimately the goal was to revive them. It was to see if the tissue still had, how long, if you died, and stayed dead, and then they revived you, what you saw, the window through. This is actually the reanimation of brain tissue. Yes, thank you so much. Patreon.com/HalSparks. I wonder if that guy could reanimate my brain. I don't know. It's entirely possible. Yes. So thank you to the patrons so much. So not only did you guys help us fix the issue with the sound in LA or in Vegas, where I have the Rodecaster, which we've been using, which is great and sounds terrific. I don't know, audio-wise, is this pretty solid? Anna, thank you so much. Yay, thank you. Welcome, Anna. Appreciate it. Wild Horse Ranch Rescue became a patron last week, too, and that was really sweet of them. Let's see. Hey, Drift, are you broadcasting through YouTube? Yeah. Yeah, are you, Drift Glass? Can we see your stuff, too? Are you streaming that out? Rest well, Hal Vickery. Thank you so much, brother. Take care of yourself. Get you some something effervescent and relax. Thank you for being with us. That's not new. They did it in the movie Young Frankenstein. Right. Abby Normal. Yes, the audio is consistently good. Excellent. Because I'm the other thing is we're doing. This is the first time using. And I don't need headphones right now because I no longer have the Chicago feed. We'll actually be able to be remote. So I'll actually be able in studio to not have to have a giant microphone blocking the visual and that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for that as well. So, ta-da. This is how the zombie apocalypse starts. This is true. Eating brains? Yeah. Hold on, I gotta put this on here. So, yeah, so now I actually have the ability, in theory, I don't know if it sounds okay, to move around during the show. Ta-da! So that was you guys, and I appreciate it. I've had this for a while. I bought it a long time ago, but, I incorporated it in the show because of you guys, because I was able to use the audio in the computer without having to have a secondary jack and yada yada. So we're gonna work on that and stuff. I still don't see stickers on my super chat. Sorry. Oh, if you click on the super chat thing on the bottom, like just click on the little dollar sign, it pops up, and the top one is super chat, and the one below it says stickers or something like that. I think that's how it works. Sounds great, Hal. Now go pee. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally forget I'm wearing it. Yeah. Miles says, thank you for the earworm. Oh, I'm sorry. And thank you for coming out to the show last night. It was so great to see you. Use some of that body flow you do so well. Well, that's the idea, is that eventually do your walking on sunshine dance, right? Ginger! Thank you. Pair character putting his hand in front of his mouth while blushing. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's the sticker, right? Thank you. So so the nice thing about it is that eventually, and maybe this is just me, but I would like to do the show standing up, and at home in my office where my computer is and all that kind of stuff, like just being able to, I have to tilt this guy up to do this. Just being able to actually deliver the show it's just a thing. Like maybe I'm just more comfortable as a stand-up, but the idea of being able to do it, this way and move around and not have to go, oh, you guys won't be able to hear me while I'm da-da-da. Like that part of it excites me. So we'll eventually be able to do that when I'm not in a hotel business center doing the show. But anyways, I brought that with me because that was the other test I was talking about, and it seemed to work. So, whew. Yeah. Yeah, don't forget to add that bookmark, guys, and share it, by the way. Share the show. We got 221 people watching and 126 thumbs up. So everybody slam the thumbs up if you could for us right now. That would be great. Did you do the earworm bit? No, I played Blame It on the Rain because Trump blamed rain for his teleprompter outage mistake. And there you go. Oh, thank you, Stanley. That's awesome. Yay! Can you read the chat room standing up? I can, yeah. No, that's the thing. It's just I've got to be closer to it. At home, I can put it on a bigger screen and blow up the text. I'm obviously on my laptop for this show, so you should stand up during the show, but have to hold the mic. Yeah, just like a real stand-up show. Yeah. Well, yeah. Ginger likes my earworm bit because I sing Steve Perry. That's the main reason. Walking and talking, it's like an Aaron Sorkin giant. Look at this. Yeah, eventually we'll get like one of those roving cameras, and I'll just be able to like talk, do like a West Wing walk and talk. Did your mixer not have an XLR input for the lav mic? No, it has XLR inputs. This thing doesn't use XLR though. This uses, because it's for cameras, it has just a regular 1/8" mini plug, which is why I didn't use it in those circumstances. Now, there is an input that uses it that I can use in the Rodecaster, and I'm going to try that next weekend and hopefully be able to move around a bunch or whatever. I know Carl loves the microphone. We've shared our love for microphones over time, but if the sound can be just as good, we can move to the next kind of stage of it. Now you need just a fake brick wall behind you and you're all set. That's right. Yeah, it's just like an 1/8". It's like a regular headphone jack size type of thing. And then if we can get that working, I can use Bluetooth headphones because the Mac will let me, just hook up Bluetooth headphones and stuff like that. And then I'm not strung to the computer at all, and I can walk around and do all kinds of stuff. And then we can get all Glenn Beck and throw up I have this huge whiteboard at home, and I want to use it. Damn it. I'll need a stool to put your tea on. This is true, yeah. I don't know. Did the Revolutionary Air Force have to land to reload their cannons? Yes. Yeah, they did. They had catapults attached to the back of them, and when if they used those, it would tip the plane forward, so they had to do a whole thing. Where did you see the list of participants in the next debate anywhere? Thanks. I didn't see it. Well, this is not the full set. These are the people who've made the list in theory. according to, so this is the Politico one. Let's see, I want to make sure I didn't go back one. Yeah. These are the folks who have supposedly, get out of the way. This is on, Politico.com has one. Let's see if I can't grab that. Yeah, just look up Politico Democratic debate next, and it should come up if you search for it that way. It's a good thing we had Shield working for us at Lexington. This is so true. Yeah. I saw a friend's obsession with Trump last night. It was so scary to see. How can people support Trump? Trump disorder. I have some brain damage I'm fixing now. Well, compared to those folks, Jude, you're perfect the way you are. All right. Did the Revolutionary Air Force have Betsy Ross on the fuselage of the planes? Yeah, not the actual, not her flag, her. Yeah. Oh my God, catapults, not fair. I was trying to swallow. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you choke. Apologize. It's rough. Yeah. Mr. Whoopi. By the way, maybe I just haven't seen it on here. Do you guys know if Steph is on YouTube or just on Free Speech TV? Do you guys know? Because yeah. Because I only know there. Let's see. I just saw Brian Crow did a show with him. He says howdy. Oh, cool. We're gonna really enlist the Revolutionary Army, right? Right on. Yeah, I've seen Brian. Brian's Instagram is Cryin' Bro. For those of you that know or have seen Brian in the past or whatever, he used to be in 01. He was one of my guitar players and has been my friend for years. Cryin' Bro on Instagram. You can follow him. He posts about his shows there. Just Free Speech. She puts clips on YouTube. Got ya. See, because I think she needs to be on YouTube. I think Free Speech TV is a mistake, and I'm gonna try and talk her into this. I don't know, but because there's a rule on Free Speech TV that you can't sell your products, your own products, and during the end of Sexy Liberal, when I was with them, she shifted from to being on Free Speech TV, and she could no longer promote the shows. Now I find it odd because Tom Hartman, they show his book readings and signings and meetings and all that kind of stuff, but he's technically selling his stuff without selling it. They let him get away with it. Yeah, Tom does Free Speech TV and YouTube, but they put his free speech stuff. I just saw him do one of his. He was at Book Soup or something like that, selling one of his books, and I'm like, well, if he can do that, why couldn't you stream Sexy Liberal on a late night part of it or something? Really, they sell candles all the time. Well, you can sell products. It's weird. You can do advertisements for some stuff that you're selling, but you're not your own things. It's just weird. The rules are really odd. So I would think that Stephanie Miller can do YouTube and Free Speech TV. I agree, but on YouTube she could sell the show. She could promote stuff more. Meanders from the room, humming, blame it on the rain. Gotcha, Miles. It really bothers me that the Republicans think this guy hung the moon and can do no wrong. Can people stand behind someone who's so fake? It really ticks me off. Yeah, well, Amy, that's, again, this has a lot to do with, I don't necessarily believe they believe in him. I think they look at him like their pet pit bull. He may bite the wrong person occasionally, but as long as he bites the right people most of the time, they're for it. I'm waiting for Chris's collard greens candles. Oh my God. Promote the podcast. Oh yeah. Yeah, because I just did Stephanie Miller's Happy Hour last week. And so give that a listen. It came out last Friday, I guess. Or, a week ago Friday? Yeah. Unnie, whose YouTube channel is that? Is that Steph's? Okay, gotcha. She doesn't have a, she doesn't have a personalized URL on there? Or does she? That I'm gonna have to look up. Actually, oh, thanks, Billy. We will definitely do more stuff on Steph's show, and I'll do more of those kind of more of the happy hour as well. I do want to do that. I have some plans I'm trying to institute, keeping my cards close to the chest, because unlike a lot of Democrats these days, I don't play poker with my cards facing out. But yeah, so I wanted to look up her on there just because, let's see. Okay. There you go. All right. So does she have, subscribing? So, no thanks. So they just do clips on there, I guess. Okay, and she's got 14,000 subscribers. She doesn't feature any other channels. Okay, primarily the videos are all 17 to 20 minutes. There's some short pieces, so they do little pieces. Gotcha. Okay. This is, as in the immortal words of Argyle from Braveheart, this is something we shall have to remedy. What time were you going to do your hump day chats? That's the hard part. Rampart. That's great. Hal, on OMAD, when you exercise in the day in relation to eating 2 hours before 4-8, it's different all the time. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Way disturbed by that bland background today. It's so not halicious. I know. I feel like, baby, if you've ever wondered. A Patreon hangout would be lots of fun. Not bitter at all. I've missed them all so far. Well, there's going to be one at Flappers, and there's going to be one at the Irvine show. And if I can arrange it, we'll do something, like a Google hangout on coming up soon too. How close do you live to Stephanie? Any more hump days and coffee with Carlos? That would be great. I'm not far from where she is. That's not the it's there's some arranging it. Like, I'm on the road a bunch, so and I've been editing a bunch. I just finished the pilot episode of a podcast I'm doing, a new one, which is very production heavy. It was like 5 days of just editing like crazy. Those of you that have been know I put up my Twitch channel, those were the only breaks I took. If I wasn't with Camden, taking him to his American Ninja Warrior class, or going, out with him or, and the fam to do stuff, like, I was just knuckled in front of a computer editing the last 2 weeks. It's been like, the hours have been insane. But I got there, I finished it. I like the overall piece of it, the concept. It's done. I may post it for notes for people to listen to it. But so you guys can give me your thoughts on what it is. It's a history-based podcast, so it's that's all I'm gonna say, because I want it to be a bit of a surprise. But I just literally, I was, the last 2 weeks especially, bleary-eyed. I fell asleep on the microphone twice last week. I was literally editing at, because Cam has his class and we have stuff we do during the day and he's on summer break, so I want to spend a bunch of time with him. So I usually, when if he takes a nap or he's at, he had ninja camp for a little while. So during the day he's doing that, and then I play with him during the day and we hang out, and then when he goes to bed, I go back to work. And so literally I was like at 9:30, I would go back to editing, and I had like 4 nights in a row where it was like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and twice I recorded my head bumping the microphone, like Now I have a WKRP song stuck in my head. I have that ability. You fell asleep on the mic in China too when you were adding a substitute broadcast for another guy. That's right. I was talk about bleary-eyed. Holy God. Is it my history that you're editing? Isn't it? It is. Isn't it? Thank you so much. Yes, I'm cutting out all the bad days, Brad. We're getting rid of them. But yeah, so I'm very proud of this, and I'm excited to do it. I don't want to mention it because I don't want it to get out ahead of itself. But I think you guys are gonna like it, especially. And I think it's definitely funny, and it's aimed at being funny, but it's also necessary. That's all I'm gonna say. So, some of my Trump friends like him because it's not Hillary or Obama. I know. Well, yeah. If you only knew. Yeah, and you do actually. Just finished listening to the 5th season audiobook. It's really good. Okay. Thank you for the recommendation. Thank you again for the A-Game sound clips for our friend. Greatly appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Glad to, Miles. It's nice when I can do, bumpers and liners for other people's podcasts while I'm out and about. Speaking of history, in 2 Saturdays is the anniversary of the first landing on the moon. This is true. Very exciting. Which is, for Summer and I, is a relationship holiday. I like history and facts. Well, you're not a very good American right now, Jude. So yeah, Mr. Carlson would be pleased. And so would Johnny Fever. Booger. That's the word he was fired for saying on the air. Do you know that? That's when he lost his job at his last station. Puppy piss and dead mouse. Nice. How can people not wrap their head around what Trump is? I'm glad his parade was rained on. Again, I think it has to do with the idea that he, as long as he's biting the right people, they'll let him bite the wrong person occasionally. It's like playing odds. I had a huge crush on Howard Hessman. Howard Hessman was so damn funny. Like the drinking and driving episode, which is so edgy by any standard, but especially today's standard, where the more he drinks, the better his reflexes get, and it ruins their don't drink and drive special report they were doing. Oh my God, so good. Being smart is politically incorrect to conservatives. This is true. I agree. Parade rained on, and you thought there is no God. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of atheists were like, wait a second, maybe I'm a deist now. I don't know. Memory is the liberal superpower. Yeah, and context, the ability to contextualize reality. That's a very underrated trait these days. Let's see. So, let's see. I'm going to try history. So poetic. History is history. I used to, wow. I used to rent the record of the moon landing from the library when I was a kid, but I also remember my parents waking me up to watch the moon landing. I was 7. Wow, that's amazing. Think critically, always. Well, not always. I mean, sometimes you might not. I mean, do you ever think about it? Might, sorry. I know, wise ass, right. NYC Pride got a double rainbow, and the Trump parade was rained on in case we need clarification on who God loves right now. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm starting to yawn. I've red-eyed in, did a show, and now my body clock is completely off. So. Let's see. Which I was in scout camp during the landing. They actually wired a TV for us. That's amazing. They'd have you believe history never happened. Well, certainly the rewriting of history is something that people, try to do, or at least, dovetail it towards their way of thinking. And that is where there is an element of both siderism. Everybody thinks the interpretation of history is their own personal, territory. They're allowed, I'm trying to, yeah. That's what she said. Her story, his story. Thank you, Al, for explaining that to me. You're a very smart man. Don't ever let anyone tell you different. Well, thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. I really, really do. I try to be, I think because I'm turning 50, I'm shifting from smart ass to wise ass. If you haven't noticed my all my stand-up promotional stuff now is using the wise ass moniker, because I think as I reach elder statesman status, it qualifies. There's a show on the History Channel right now debunking the "we never landed on the moon" BS. Yeah, there's a bunch of that on YouTube too. That's finally started pushing back. That's the position of the yeah. I mean, Billy, that's a strategy, the Nazis used. There you go. If you want to break Godwin's law, but that the Nazis sort of used the reclamation of paganism and dovetailing it into their own kind of weird Nordic mythology that they made up themselves, that as a way of creating the Aryan master race narrative out of whole cloth, basically like stealing pieces of history and slamming them together. Yes, this is true. Facts must matter. It is absolutely the case. Yeah. Odin worship, sort of, but they, but the, they bastardized it. I mean, they were using, Tibetan and Buddhist imagery, and were, measuring the skulls of people in Tibet to see if that's where their ancestry came from, and like, it's super weird. Like, I mean, it was like Scientology. They just threw it together. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Rainbow Clips. I appreciate that. Thanks, brother. That's awesome. Yay. Thank you, Rainbow. Hooray. Woot. Woot. The swastika is still popular in India. It's not even about popularity. It's a sacred symbol that was theirs. The sad part is how, it got stolen and dirtied up by these guys. You know what I mean? Because there are huge Buddhas in, all over China. When I was there, they had these gorgeous Buddhas, that, and they all have swastikas on there, which I'm fairly certain, I mean, calling it that is part of the problem too, because that's the German word for it. I'm sure there's another name for it, but that symbol itself is sacred, over there, and then it gets gummed up by these a-holes. The Nazis mastered mass media propaganda. They even had a cheap folk radio station so everyone could listen in. Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you for contributing to Project 666 to help us buy 666 Fifth Avenue. Can you imagine one day if we could broadcast from 666 Fifth Avenue as like buying Fox out? Like that would be kind of a miracle. Yeah, that's true, Jim. Native Americans also did it. Yeah, yes, this is true. The Germans did reverse the symbol. It goes the other way naturally. This is true. Whoa. Yes, both kinds. I'd bake brownies at first showing 666. That's great. On history, we visited our daughters, and where is it? City. They took us to the tavern that George Washington said goodbye to his generals, but they were going to get paid, so he didn't. He did the honorable thing, rode the Continental Congress, and quit. Never came back to Congress till he was named president. That's right. Aw, thanks, Amy. How long do you book this business center for? Yeah, I've only got it technically till 2:30, and I'm over time, but I don't think anybody's coming in here, and there's a chair blocking the door. So, I hate when people use an image of a symbol of good for bad. Yeah, there's a bunch of that going around. Sleep, we'll watch. Yeah, just have a cam. That's right. Pete, you haven't gotten your sticker, your patch yet? When did you sign up? Because it only lets me know at the beginning of the next month. So if you signed up next month, that means it literally just came online on the 1st. So yours went out with the last batch of them. I will, but you will receive it. I promised you. If you're not. Jude, who seems to be the only person we can't get mail to, I'm going to have to walk. I'm literally going to walk T-shirts to her the next time I see. I'm only booking a show in Grand Rapids, Michigan, so I can bring stuff to Jude. No, about 2 months ago. Oh, okay. Well, I will look. Did you put your address in? That's also a factor. But I will make sure. Because we mailed out 2 batches over the last little bit, so they definitely went out. But I will check and make sure, and I apologize, and I will get it to you. Yeah. Hal, I thought you were sending out shirts for some reason. We did. We sent shirts to you. I may need to check my post office because I didn't get my shirt yet. Okay. That's why you can't stay silent if you see hijacking of iconology or language pointed out. This is true. I have a patch, therefore I dominate the universe. There, no infinity. No infinity was here, right? Yeah, of course, Pete, we'll take care of it. They're, of course, talking about Patreon. There you go. You can get a T-shirt, though, and all that kind of stuff at Teespring. Eventually, if I get 10,000 subscribers, the Teespring link will be below the show, which is the whole point. Well, it's not the whole point. There's a bunch of other things, too, but that's a big thing. How the post office hates me. I think so, but I don't mind hand-delivering you stuff, Jude. I like those people that claim we never landed on the moon, and then you challenge them to prove it, and they scream at you to go look it up. Yeah. Like Eddie Bravo on Rogan's thing. I don't believe anything unless I can see it with my eyes. All right, okay, so. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Brad, for getting us, buying us an extra hour in the business center. I appreciate that. How are you paying Lion by the ad? I couldn't afford him if that was the case. He's just a total pro. Like, I can't, like, by the way, Can't Stop Lying. Thank you so much. And Carl and Julie for keeping the trolls at bay. Thank you guys so much. You're still sticker free. Yours got mailed out. I oversaw that one personally, so hopefully it's on its way. If anybody isn't getting their stuff, we'll see why. Let me find out that these things are. I'm gonna go to my mailbox, and there are gonna be a bunch of them that came back because of too much weight, and it's like you're overweight for the stamp, and then they send it back, and you're like, well, it came back. And, all right, never mind. Yeah, he believes George Washington was real. Has he seen him with his own eyes? You've seen drawings. There's some statues, but how do you know? We do have the most awesome mods. It is true. Okay, here's a new one on me. You got broke up by text. I forgot that I'm a child of the 60s. Yeah, I've had that happen. George Washington's on the $1 bill. Are you sure? Dear, you answered any of my questions today. Am I on timeout or something? Oh, sorry, Liberty. I don't know that I didn't see them. It's just really a timing thing. I apologize. So, hi, and you're not on a timeout, and I'm sorry I didn't see them. It scrolls fairly fast, so unless I roll back and see them, So, hi, Liberty. Apologize. Hello. No, my patron Jess is still the same. Okay, cool. Let's see if I scroll back to find. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, Liberty, I saw your line to Zelda. But how would we know? Okay, here we go. How would we know if you will have the Patreon hangouts for Irvine Flappers July shows? I will post those this coming week, on the Patreon page, and you'll get there'll be a post on there that messages and says when and where. I still have to work out the Flappers one's easy because they have a little side area that I can meet up with folks, or we can go to Barney's Beanery right next door or something like that. The Irvine one's a little trickier because I don't have as friendly a relationship with the club. They're fine. I just don't, interact with them that much. So getting a space to do it, and it's a weird little mall down there. So if I can't do it inside the space, then I will do it at like a little boba tea place or something in the mall there in Irvine. So I've got to work out the details on that one. That's the only thing. So yeah. Thanks, Billy. Where did I see that? Yeah. Sounds like age difference between Macron and his time. I got caught up answering that, and I got to scroll back. Yep, you're to a 28-year-old dating a 55-year-old. Look out. For the business center at the 666 building. Thank you, Billy. Yeah, I do. I did have to rent the place out, but I don't think people use it very much at this. Like the occasional like my mom would come here to print out her tickets. I like to print out my tickets beforehand when we go to the plane. Yeah, the Beatles aren't real because I never saw them. Were you there when John Lennon was shot? How do you know he's not still alive? Take it away. Can make. Yeah, please do, Carl. Let me know. That would be great. We could pick a place in the Irvine Spectrum in that area. Yeah. Speaking of trolls, did you all notice that we didn't have that troll caller today? Yeah, he didn't. Yeah. I think they're all on break over they're all basking in the, he's drying his clothes out from the Trump parade. Aw, you guys. Spectrum nearly killed him. Simmer down, you guys. Why does that keep popping up there? That's very weird. Let's see. Look at that. We got 178 people watching still and 147 likes. So give it a thumbs up if you haven't yet, please. That would be great. If you're new, if you popped in right now, give us a thumbs up. That really helps. subscribe and share the show. That would be really helpful as well. And anybody who wants to get, like, Carl, I think you pulled a clip from the show and posted it on Twitter the other day, and I don't know how to do that from my end. I think when you log in, it's your own stuff. It's harder to pull stuff. I don't know if you just downloaded the whole video and just cut a chunk out of it, or posted it, or took tweeted a segment, or I'm not quite sure how that worked, what you were showing, because you seemed to just show a piece of it. What was that? Let's see. Great job with the likes today, everyone. If you haven't shown your love already, yes, smash the like, smash it, smash the like. That's right. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Now you're the one person that is kept your taking. Oh, Amy, stick around. We're lucky to have you. Big hugs. This is, I believe in optimism, not just as a mental state, but as a mission in life. That, focusing and being optimistic is beyond just a good habit to have. It's necessary. It's it's engaging and important. So thanks for being here with us, and I used an app called 4K Video Downloader to get the whole thing. Then I used my NLE program to serve the part and post it on. Gotcha. Okay, cool. I didn't know if there was a way, like, internally in YouTube to sometimes grab, like, because I can do highlights in there, but I can only do highlights while it's going, which is lame. I should be able to grab highlights and post them separately as little videos in the longer streams. Like, that's my big note, and I can't make those notes until I hit 10,000K. That's the other thing. Is like, please, yeah. So, wish I could give you a thumbs up with more than just my left hand on you. Yep. Stick with us, Amy. You guys are being so nice today. It was the happy ending about the brains, wasn't it? That's what did it. House, what was the final crowd number on the total for Trump's very bad, no good day? I don't know. Like, the crowd estimation, because they also had that other Capitol Hill thing down the mall, and some of the crowd was bleed over from that, Let's see. Trump's crowd count fourth. Yeah, because the picture they sent out was, I think, photoshopped, oddly. I have to look at the Snopes thing on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't have a number. I can't find a number on there. According to Snopes, it's not Photoshopped, the picture that went out. Well, all got to stick around to witness what this BA starts to turn around and get much better. I agree. I mean, the crowd, so big, such a great crowd. Crowd size will be just as fictitious as the cost. Yeah. I can't listen to Trump for a minute. I listen to a bunch of, I listen to the speeches sometimes, and the whole rallies are just, oh God, they're so boring. Like, he has a couple of like his, he does the hits and people will yell stuff, but a lot of times it's so tired. Is it okay to compare Trump to Hitler yet? Not really. I mean, you can. I think he has a lot more. I think he's impressed by him, and I think he is impressed by, Goebbels more than almost anybody. Capitol 4th is put on by the Department of Army. Thug forward wants to foul everything he touches. Yeah. Oh, I didn't. I haven't moved. I've sat still too long. What happened to divorce because of me? Oh Lord, I'm sorry, Amy. Trump speaks and the grass stops growing. Some of the Capitol 4th non-Trumps on PBS did not see one MAGA hat. There were country band names of veterans playing on stage, so MAGA didn't take over the area. Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough one. I think I'm gonna get the boot. You guys, I'm gonna sign off because I gotta take off. And thank you so much. We will see you next week. This Wednesday I'm gonna do a Hump Days kind of gathering, and we will may call in on Steph's show. We'll figure that part of it out. I'm trying to get that working. But you guys are awesome, and thank you for sticking around after the, in the post show. I'm so glad the audio has worked out, and I thank you patrons for helping us do that. It's great. Each piece that I can chip away and make this better, I will always do that. And so thank you guys for helping me out. I will see you next time. Don't forget to share the show if you can after you've watched it. Pass it on, all that kind of stuff. And we will see you next time. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Bye.